Declaration of War is an amazing podcast. They're one of the podcasts that really inspired me. I mean, they've been around forever. So I'm very pleased to see Alexia Carve continue to do the show. He's a very smart dude, asks very good questions. This is a very good interview. The NFT conversation begins at 37 minutes. And then at 53 minutes, they start talking about the next thing I have notes for, but I think, yeah, this comes before that. So at 53 minutes, they also talk about a little bit about things being introduced to the game. And Alexia Carve compares Quasar, which is a new tech that CCP is utilizing, with the Hadean engine and Aether Wars, and the what's it called? And the Abyss. Now, first of all, I kind of take exception to the notion that the Abyss is comparable to those two. What are the other two is technology. The third is design implementation. And I also don't necessarily agree that the Abyss was done as quote unquote an experiment. I think that the Abyss was a question to be answered. And that question was, okay, well, up until this point, we've had zero instancing. However, that comes with it inherent design constrictions in every PvE that we've ever developed. So what can we actually do if we loosen those constrictions? And the Abyss was an exploration as to that. I wouldn't necessarily call it an experiment, because it wasn't designed to be something that they would just like take out or something like that. However, CCP Rattati's answer is really good. He kind of kicks back on a couple of the ideas about the Abyss and how they made it a big point to have entry points, like points of being able to interact with. And as I've said in a previous video, this is actually like less safe than some of the other sites in the game that allow you to use locked gates to operate inside. And then unlike those sites, instead of coming out from a single point that somebody can camp, you can warp out from the site to anywhere. So you can't even catch somebody as they leave the site when it comes to those normal sites that have been around since like 2005. So it's not that big of a journey. It just has a lot of public optics issues. But like I said, he's got a good answer, and I've talked about this in other videos, so that's not really the point that I was trying to get to. The one thing I do want to talk about, because this comes up a little bit, I want to cover the Hadean engine issue. So in 2019, there was a couple of experiments known as Aether Wars, where it was to test concurrent users and their ability to like do that. So we were in the Abyss. We were fighting in different, I think it was Garistus ships. There's some pretty cool stuff. You basically ran around and just shot things. It wasn't like Eve. It was honestly closer to like Valkyrie sort of gameplay. It's kind of wonky, but it did work. And there was a lot of simultaneous connections and all that stuff. But even then, CCP from the very, very beginning explained that this was not necessarily something that they were working towards actually doing. But this company was interested in doing this experiment with CCP, and that maybe CCP will consider moving towards that, depending on how it goes. So let's talk about what that was, because a lot of like Eve players, we have a very biased Eve-centric view. So we saw this as CCP looking at alternative possibilities for the engine. But that isn't exactly what I think the Aether Wars was. So let's look at Hadean's website. Nope, that's the wrong one. Darn it. Spoiler, sweetie. Hey, this is Hadean's website. delivering distributed compute power to enable immersive Web 3.0 experiences and persistent metaverse. So this is it. This is what they are selling. What they are developing is a hardware infrastructure system that allows scalability. And if you look here, you have this quote by Hilmar. You have all of these different people that they've partnered with. You didn't see it, but CCP just scrolled past. And then they have customer success, COVID-19 simulation, unconstrained virtual events, and the MMO gaming at scale. MMO gaming at scale talks about the Aether Wars. So this was not necessarily first and foremost an experiment for CCP to find out more about it, to see if this engine would work for them. This was glorification of the fit, mortification of the unfit. Nova, you are glorified. Darn it, I was going to raid you when I was done, but good to see you guys. We're just working our way through the news, and right now we're going through the CCP Rattati's interview. So Aether Wars was an opportunity for the Hadean company to get a case study for them to utilize for marketing and, demonstration of their capabilities. Like, here's the product, right? This is what happened. There's a case study right here. In fact, where is it? Shoot. I thought oh yeah, that's right. I don't have hover zoom on this version. This thing doesn't really talk. This is talking about it as a test, that this is, their problem is tie-dye. This is the solution. This is the benefit. But this isn't necessarily something that was being moved forward with. This was more or less an opportunity for the Hadean company to be able to demonstrate to the world the power of their system, not just to CCP. So that's what it was, I believe, first and foremost. Because you can see that they've got other fish to fry. I wouldn't necessarily expect that this means that it's going to follow up. And it was never meant to. It was always meant to be this way. That's why the verbiage from CCP was the way it was, right? So comparing Aether Wars with something like Quasar and Abyss, I feel is... I get his question was well-formed, but it seems like those are vastly different things. And I think CCP Rattati does a pretty good job of piecing them all together.